Good morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you are viewing this. So today I am here for Bring It On Books for April, which in case you don't know is just a little segment where I talk about the books that I'm excited to come out for the following month, and today I'm talking about April. The first book that I'm looking forward to coming out is Empire Knight, which is the second book to the Sea of Shadows series by Kelly Armstrong, and it comes out on April 7th. I haven't read Sea of Shadows, and so I'm looking forward to it, reading this whenever I get the chance. But basically, if you don't know, like me, really what it's about, it is about these two sisters who are kind of like the keepers of these souls, and they are separated, and so they have to try to find their way back to each other and warn the king that these souls are very restless and yada yada yada. It sounds interesting, and I'm willing to give it a try, and yeah, so there's that book coming out. The second book that I'm looking forward to coming out also comes out on April 7th, and that is Miss Mayhem by Rachel Hawkins, and that is the second book to the Rebel Belle series. I read Rebel Belle last year, and down below is going to be a link to my Rebel Belle discussion video, so if you want to get a more in-depth talk about what it is, you can visit that link in that video down below. But basically a short synopsis of what it is. It is this regular southern girl whose, biggest fear or like problem is being homecoming queen, and things take an interesting turn when she realizes she has superpowers. And it was a really fun read. It was very just comical but really interesting in like a contemporary fantasy. So yes, I'm excited to see what happens next, because we just started learning about what exactly everything is going on and what's happening in the first book, so I can't wait to see it continue on in Miss Mayhem, April 7th. The third book is The Wondrous and the Wicked, which is the third book, and I believe a trilogy of The Beautiful and the Cursed by Paige Morgan, and that comes out April 14th. Again, a brief synopsis of The Beautiful and the Cursed, a book that I have not read, so I can't wait to marathon the series, and it sounds interesting, is you have the main character and their family has to move to Paris after some secret about them and their family comes out in London. So while they're in Paris, her twin brother mysteriously goes missing, and it's on the journey to try to find her brother, and everyone thinks he's dead, but she just knows that he's not dead, and her trying to find him. So the covers are super gorgeous, and just the titles in themselves, like the juxtaposition of like The Beautiful and the Cursed or The Wondrous and the Wicked, it intrigues me, so I can't wait to see what this series is about. Next, we have Rogue by Julie Kagawa, and this is the second book of the Talon series, and I haven't read Talon yet. I picked up this baby at BEA last year, and I just haven't gotten around to reading it, and then when I did want to read it and I had time, I realized that the sequel was coming out soon, so then I've just held off and I brought this to Edinburgh with me. So if you don't know what Talon is about, it is about the main character, and she is a dragon that hides in human form, and no one really knows that dragons exist and yada yada yada, and she wants to live a normal teenage life, and then she runs into this boy who ends up being a dragon hunter, and things just, happen like they do in YA. I really enjoy Julie Kagawa's writing. I've read the Blood of Eden series as well as the Iron Fae series, and I've really enjoyed them both, and so I can't wait to read a book about dragons, because that's really new and not something I have heard of before in the YA genre, and so that's kind of cool. I do have a feeling though that when I'm going to be reading it, I'm going to be thinking of Daenerys from Game of Thrones. And in case I didn't mention, Rogue comes out on April 28th. And lastly, the final book that I'm looking forward to coming out in April is The Replaced, which is the second book in the series of The Taking by Kimberly Derting, and also comes out on April 28th. So Paige, tell me what a brief synopsis of the book is. Well, okay, a brief synopsis of the book is that the main character all of a sudden is passed out behind the local gas station. It's like gas and sip or something like that. And she wakes up and goes back home and realizes that she's been missing for 5 years and yet she hasn't aged a day. So seeing her family move on, her parents are divorced, her boyfriend moving on, and, you know, being in a relationship with her best friend. So it's interesting, and yeah. I think one of the reasons why I want to read this book is just because, like, wouldn't that just be so weird? Like, I would never want that to happen to me in a million years, but that would just be really weird, and that's why it really has me intrigued. Like, what would happen in my life? I don't know. It's so crazy. So yes, those are the books that I'm looking forward to coming out in April, and you can follow me on Goodreads and Twitter, and I'm modifying my saying because I do technically have a Tumblr page, but I don't really do a lot with it. So I don't know what I'm doing. So you can follow me on Twitter, but I won't really be active on there in like months. So yes, subscribe to my videos and my channel if you want, and yes, I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye! I just needed some help and suggestions of what I should read other than the ones that I had already decided. So at first, my thoughts and my feelings were